Greetings, friends. Your cartoonist pal Stan here with another episode of Random Encounters, the show where I use random encounter tables, like the kind you find in tabletop role playing games, such as Dungeons and Dragons, and I use an electronic die roller and I use input from you, the folks who are in the live chat watching, to randomly generate a who and a what, a character or a creature, a situation or a job or a movie or something, and then smash them together and draw it. It sounds so simple when I say it that way. I just draw it. But yes, this is a fun kind of creative exercise that I've done over the years just to give myself something to do when I'm not feeling inspired. I've played it as a party game with other cartoonist friends, and it's something that I find to be helpful for stretching the creative muscles. Just kind of a good fun practice, and it gives me an excuse to come on here and chat with everyone. See folks and get your input. I say it's like a cartoonist exercise. It's also a little bit like improv cartoon shows or improv comedy shows, where you go and you get to help me decide what I do. Sometimes I just throw away what's on the chart entirely. Forget the dice. You guys come up with such great ideas. I draw that. Now, most weeks, I do 3 drawings here in about 20, 25 minutes each. Last week, we were having so much fun. I did 4. I don't promise that's going to happen very often. In fact, we're now in the 3rd year of this show, doing doing this live stream just about every Thursday. This is one of only 2 times that I drew 4, and the other time was the time I tried to draw 100. And that's not happening again anytime soon. So that's where we're at. That's what's going on. It's the autumn definitely here. We're starting to get blustery weather, starting to get more rain, which we really could use, and starting to get a little chillier. I don't know. I like to keep my home a little warmer, so you still will probably see me in short sleeves throughout the winter. You generally do, but I don't know. The higher heating costs go, the more likely it is that you'll see me putting on some sweatshirts or something. Hello, Michael and chat. Good to see you this evening. Thank you for coming by. Always a pleasure. So, having done, it is a blustery day. Pooh. Michael says it's a blustery day, Piglet. It is poo. So, I don't know what we're hanging around for. I think that it's time for me to grab my iPad Pro. I do all my drawing here on an iPad Pro with the app Procreate and an Apple Pencil. I try to talk through some artistic lessons, insights, just things I'm thinking about when I'm drawing, and answer questions you guys have. I list this stream as a how-to because I want to encourage people. In fact, I encourage all of you watching right now. I encourage you to find your favorite drawing implement, whether it's a crayon or a pencil or a dip pen or a ballpoint pen, and grab a piece of paper. Something from the printer if you've got one. It's just a regular old printer, 8.5 by 11, or a sketch pad if you happen to have one, or the back of an envelope, whatever. Just draw along. You don't have to draw the same things I'm drawing, and you certainly don't have to draw them the way I'm drawing them. That's an even bigger thing. But you can draw whatever you like, whatever you are given the inspiration to, because drawing is fun. And that is what got me to start this show. That concept, trying to encourage the fact that drawing is fun, people to draw more on their own just for the sheer joy of it. So, Uh, you have your quill and papyrus. Excellent. Oh, those are fine drawing implements. You're going to track how many bushels of rice are brought before the pharaoh. So what do I need to do here? What do I need to do? I need to push this button. Push this button. Then here are the encounter tables we're using for this evening. And here is my electronic die roller, so we can generate a random, uh, a random drawing prompt. So roll the dice around, and let it go, and we get a 6 and a 7. 6 and a 7. Which is a carnivorous plant UFO encounter. Both of those have been on the list for a while. I'm beginning to think about what I should do about them. Uh, we're only using 3 of each, and maybe not even each week. But the carnivorous plant and UFO encounter. All right. So I'd like to do my sketching in blue, which is a throwback to the old days of working in physical media. So let's see. So we're going to have a carnivorous plant. Now, I'm not sure whether the carnivorous plant is going to have its mouth open or not, but we'll start with that because that takes up more space. You always want to figure out, in laying things out, you need to figure out how much space a thing is going to take. And if I want to get the leaves in, they've got to be under wherever the bottom of that head is going to be. Now, you actually can look here. I might have it with its closed mouth, it'd be there, so the leaves could come up here. But if I have it with an open mouth, then if the leaf's up there, it's going to be behind the mouth, and that's going to make trouble for me. So that's why I did the sketch with the mouth open. We'll decide whether or not that goes. But the leaves here that it's going to use maybe use as arms. It might have a root, a vine that comes out. We got a little. Now, I often talk about the fact that posture is important. So with the plant with a curvy stalk, I can work with that. It's got a lot of posture positioning. If I wanted to show him being really threatening, I'd probably want to draw it up like this. So it is looming over the UFO, the alien, the space alien. Now, I'm not at all sure what's going to happen here. If there's a gag in this, or if it's just going to be sometimes there's a funny gag in it, and sometimes it's just a cute picture. I'm looking at this, and I'm something about Soylent Green. The alien wants to sell it to him. Maybe. My first inclination was what? So the stereotypical alien is take me to your leader. What would be a plant version of that. Take me to your waterer. I mean, here's another thing. I've got it as a normal alien. Now, if I give this guy a smile, I'm doing it because I'm thinking maybe instead of that, we can have an alien that's also a plant. That's a little harder to pull off. Alright, so we've got a hill in the background with a spaceship landing on it. Take me to your gardener. Now, do I put the space alien in a spacesuit? Probably. It's a little funnier that way. Or they could be agreeing on something. We could have this vine come up and they could be shaking hands. And what, so now it's like what would a plant ask for from an alien? I can think of the beginnings. I can think of what I might want to face that joke on, but I don't know what the joke would be. Right? Wants to get rid of the pollutants or get rid of the polluters or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. Plant to alien, is that wrapping? Is that wrapping your inedible? All right. And basically, we don't really have a gag. I think, you know what? Here's the thing. I'm going to look at this. Whatever the gag is, we can almost certainly just move the whole thing up and put it underneath in a New Yorker style caption. Because there's nothing especially action oriented going on in this drawing. So let's do this. Now I've done the sketches. Whenever you start doing the drawing, doing your whether you're doing actual ink on paper, you're doing a pencil sketch and ink on paper, or you're doing a light drawing and then when you start putting in your convincing finished lines, start with the lines that you are most confident in. And that is the lines that you are sure will not change. And I think that in this one, it's going to have to be the bubble. Everything else can change, but his bubble, kind of like the way those leaves had to play with the underside of the plant's chin, this bubble is got to define the space of how close the plant can get and things like that. So let's start with that. Oh, and in case you didn't notice, I used one of those tools that I'm always talking about with Procreate app. If you draw a roughly elliptical shape, it snaps it into an ellipse. And if you put your finger down, it'll turn it into a true circle. So when I drew that, look at, I mean, that curve is such a nice, smooth curve. It's really hard to draw good circles or even clean ellipses. So it's good to have a tool that does it. This app also does that for straight lines, and I know this is something I've said a fair bit, but a lot of people, when I talk to them about drawing, they say to me, I can't even draw a straight line, and my reply to them is always, straight lines are really hard to draw. I can't draw one either. That's why I have tools. That's why I have owned lots of different kinds of rulers, and why I make use of the tool in this app where if you draw a vaguely straight line, it'll snap it straight for you. And it will also turn it to particular degrees. So you want it to be straight up and down, that's straight up and down. You want it to be straight on the horizon line, straight vertical, that's straight vertical. And it goes in, I think, 15-degree arcs around, like that. Because drawing straight lines is hard. All right, I'm going to draw our little guy here. And we're going to have the... It's funny that the very first thing I'm drawing on this plant is the end of its root, because it needs to interact with the hand. It's a really weird posture he wound up with. That's they say. I often say you don't want to just have your characters stand straight up and down. You want to give them posture and give them attitude. But you also want to make it one that feels right. Now, this guy, despite my sketch, he's going a little weird, and part of that might be because his neck is coming straight up and down. That helps. Yeah, so his body is going like that, but I had his neck going straight up out of it. Which doesn't work. And that would be one of those things that a lot of people looking at the drawing would not be able to pick out why it looked wrong, but it would definitely trigger as wrong in most people's heads. There we go. Okay. And I'm still been thinking about it here quietly in the back of my head. What the caption might be, and I'm still not really coming up with anything great. Hopefully, Michael, and I see Surreptitious is here. Hey, Surreptitious, thank you for joining us tonight. Maybe you've got something a little funnier, or again, maybe it's just that this is a drawing of a carnivorous plant and an alien, and we don't need anything. We don't need any words. I'm giving thought to it though, trying to think about things like Mars attacks. Like, what is the kind of thing that an alien always might say that could be taken in a funnier way here because he's talking to a plant, not a human. Right? In Mars Attacks, the alien translator always said, "We are your friends. We come in peace. We are your friends," as they were shooting down everyone. Hack, 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 hack. So I guess that one of the questions is what the alien might be saying to the plant. But again, I don't know that we necessarily need a a caption for this. I don't know how many of you maybe are listeners to This American Life, but they had a piece that it was from another show originally, um, that they've played on a number of occasions. It's a short, um, a piece of short fiction about the aliens landing on Earth and talking amongst themselves because, and the whole uh, crux of it is that uh, they can't believe that the intelligent species is meat. We are meat. And, they don't really explain what it is that they are, disembodied thought or other neural networks. But it's a very very funny piece about the aliens trying one alien trying to describe to the others on the ship that the intelligent species on this planet is meat, and they say, "You mean the species they use the meat? No, no, they are the meat. So the meat they get inside and take over meat? No, it's just meat." Uh, very very funny. Michael, you remember that story? Yeah, no, it's hilarious. I think that John Benjamin, the guy who uh, does a voice for Archer, among many other things, is one of the people that did the recording of that story. I'm not sure about that, but I think so. All right, I think that's it. Now I think you may have noticed that I drew eyes, pupil like things within the eyes, and I haven't done anything with those, and there's a reason for that. Because when it comes time to color, I'm going to flip over to my gloaming brush, which um, Michael reported to me yesterday on the Wednesday show that he reached out to the Procreate people and asked them about why the gloaming brush is called the gloaming brush. And it apparently is based on a an Australian TV show. Hmm. Trying to decide what color the plant should be, and I think that I'm going to go with this soft red for the bulb of the plant. A little darker version there. But then, more green for the root and the stem. I'm gonna have to go look up that meat bit from This American Life. See if I can find it. See, Michael says a short piece of fiction from the perspective of aliens who've been scouting Earth from writer Terry Bisson. Oh, so you definitely have found it. It's called They're Made Out of Meat. There you go. They're Made Out of Meat. Look it up. It's performed by Maeve Higgins and H. John Benjamin. So I remembered that correctly. Yay me. Pat on the back. There was darker color for the wrappings around the root. And then our alien, we will make. Is it going to be a little? No, we'll make him blue. Not that blue. That's terrible blue. Turn off the sketch because it can't see these things well. That's an acceptable blue. But okay, so then here's why I didn't do it. I want to do the eyes dark. We often see aliens with dark eyes, but then in them, I'm going to quick switch back there, and I'm going to have little. That's where those pupils will come in. What else do we need? Now we need a little bit of reflection on the helmet so that it's not just a circle. It gives it that sense of roundness, of three-dimensionality. And we need to color the spacesuit. Who knows what color this spacesuit will be? Again, kind of like I do with armor, I'm just making the different parts of the suit darker versions of the same color. It just makes it feel. It saves me from having to make decisions, and it makes it feel like a designed thing. Okay, what else we got? What else we got? We need a little bit of maybe purple for the UFO. And finally, what am I going to... I'm going to add another layer for the grass. So again, I can not worry about coloring over or under some of the alien or the carnivorous plant. Still haven't quite figured out if there's anything to say about this. The only reason I'm thinking that there might be something to say is, what is it that makes this plant a carnivorous plant? How do we show that it's carnivorous? I don't know that we really need to. I'm thinking about it. If I can think of a way, or if you guys think of a good way, we'll put it in um, as a caption. But if we don't, it's all right. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. That's why that's not coming through the way I want. Now, if I'm going to draw on the... There we go. And the leaves... and even the stem, a little bit on the stem. Not quite as dark as those viney bits, but darker than the main stem. And of course, that means for our alien, we need a little bit of that too. Less so, his body can certainly do without it, but his head needs a little bit of shading. And so do his eyes. There we go. I guess I can also come in here, maybe come back to our background layer and lay in some night sky. Because that's when the aliens come, right? The aliens come at night. Otherwise, how are they going to get here from outer space? There we go. Oh, you know what I also need to do here is we need to put a little dirt. Yeah, I just feel like there's a joke here, and I'm not getting it. All right, so I'm going to take all of these layers, and I'm going to pull them up a bit, just a bit. It's going to leave us some room at the bottom. I'm going to look up and see what you guys did. Did you guys come up with a good joke for me? A good punchline? A good caption? Maybe yes, maybe no. Scroll back up. Bum, bum, bum. Uh, What's an absentee father's favorite meat? Bison. Oh, oh my, oh my. You know what? I can't remember what the setup was for that same punchline. It was not absentee fatherism. It was another setup. It was a more uh, involved setup that ended with that. What did the father Buffalo say to the his, I don't know. I don't remember what it is. When the kid was going to camp or before he left for the. What did he say? This is the last thing he says before he leaves the house in the morning. I don't remember. Let's see. Take me to your gardener. You see, I said that earlier too. Take me to your gardener. Or waterer. I think, no, I said waterer. I think Michael said gardener. Or maybe you did, and I just misread it. It was you the whole time, Chris. No, maybe I like this one. the, the alien saying, "Why? No, we're not vegetarians." Why? Maybe. Here we go. Here we go. I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. And take your idea and ruin it with my own style. Add text. Comes down here. And what it's going to be is. Oh, well, first of all, I need to edit it a little so that we're going to use the Times New Roman. We're going to use it in italic. We're going to drop the size down to about 30, I think. I'll be able to see better after I do this, and we can adjust it. And we're going to come over here and we are going to say we're going to start with a quote, because got to start with a quote. Open quotes. He's going to say, vegetarian? Oops, come on. No. We're totally carnivores. We're totally carnivores too. All right. And then I'm going to take the whole thing and make it just a little smaller. Instead of 20, we'll go to 25. Or 27. Yeah, that looks about right. Make it a little bigger, grab that, center it. We got vegetarian. No, we're totally carnivores too. You know, Chris and Michael, the more we try and it's got to be clear. This is one of the reasons why I might have wanted to draw. If I knew this was the punchline we were going to, I probably would have drawn the plant with its mouth closed, so that there's no confusion over who's saying it. If we're not using word balloons and we're using the caption underneath, it needs to be clear who's speaking. The thing about this is it kind of works either ways. which is why I'm not so worried about it. But in my head, it's definitely the alien that's speaking. Anyway, there we go. I'm going to put my stand on it. We've taken longer. I have taken longer than usual on this one, and I don't know. I don't know why. It didn't feel like I was taking longer than usual. But we're going to come down here. We're going to put a little stand in the corner, and we've got ourselves a carnivorous plant UFO encounter as our first drawing. Well done, my friends. Oh, great. We've got a Twitch bot trying to sell me cheap stream bots. Bleh. Okay. I'm gonna quickly. My background has more detail than normal. Yeah, well, I wanted to put the saucer. I didn't want to just have it be the alien. Then, so once I had the saucer, I needed some kind of context, and so but you can say it's a lot more than usual, but it's not a lot, right? It's a kind of wiggly line for the grass. It's a lumpy line for the trees, and it's a flat color with very quick dots for the background. And actually, that's a lesson for you all to take doing your own art. It's amazing how much just a little bit uh, of background can feel like more. I've done it before in other drawings where I just kind of put like a floor line and the implication that there are some bricks on the wall, and it makes it feel like I've drawn a dungeon or a room. Uh, and it doesn't add a lot of time, right? That was putting those in was very fast. Uh, they have a lot of impact. All right. Enough of that. Let's get moving. I got other things I need to do tonight. Not a lot, but a couple. So I'm going to turn on round 2, turn off round 1, go to the sketch layer, make sure we've got the blue and the inking brush. We're back here. One more sip. We did a carnivorous plant having a UFO encounter, and it didn't go the way we expected. That was our first drawing. Let's go and roll the dice again and do another drawing. So let's roll them, and stop. And we get a 10 and an 8. 10 we know is going to be adventurer, and 8 is sacking the quarterback. It doesn't seem very. I was kind of hoping sacking the quarterback would be a monster. That just sounds like a game of what was the American football esque game from the folks that do. God, I'm blanking on all my proper nouns. Um, from Games Workshop, Blood Bowl. It feels like just Blood Bowl. Adventurer sacking the quarterback. You guys have a preference other than adventurer from that list, or maybe not from the list? Who's sacking? I do like sacking the quarterback. It's football season now. We're into week 6 of the NFL starting tonight. Time to get a football drawing. What kind of monster is the quarterback? I suppose that could be they're going to sack the quarterback, but the quarterback is a dragon. Yeah, all right, let's do that. Let's go with the dice. I decided not to use the adventurers last week. If I'm going to start vetoing them, then maybe it's time to take them off the list. I have them on there every week. All right, so we're going to do Um, I'm feeling like we're doing a dragon. I think this is going to wind up getting blown up a bit here. Yeah. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? Certainly have one adventurer that he's just grabbing in his hand there. We'd have another one that he's stepping on here. Maybe the fighter's up here just whacking away with his sword and doing nothing. That's one of the big questions here is what's going to be on the helmet. That little halfling could be saying something like, "For Paylor's sake," I love for Paylor's sake. Sack him. This guy will say, "I'm sacking as hard as I can." I think that's our gag. I think it's my gag. I don't know what you know what. Here's another one. I encourage you to do it at home. Draw your own version of this. There's a lot of gags to be gotten out of this. There we go. We'll go to our line slayer and we'll start drawing here. And I'm going to start with the dragon's snout. And helmet. With a little dragon emblem on the side. It's kind of reminiscent of the dragon in the ampersand for D&D. Like so. You can't really see down here the gag I've got, the visual gag I've got going on is a spellcaster just being stomped. And over here, we're going to put the halfling. There. Now I have him kind of legs splayed in the air because he's jumping up and down to try and get the sack. But it's not doing any good. Now we can just put a few hints of scales to fill out the space on the dragon. You can say for Paler's sake. Sack him. Go. I'm starting to think about, my head's starting to throw. You always get, it happens to me all the time. I get something, I think that's a great idea, and the minute I start working on it, my brain says, "How about this? How about this? How about if you add this?" So this, I'm sacking as hard as I can. It's like I had several, I must be rolling ones, or that starts just getting a little too in the weeds of the game. I mean, it feels to me like there's a series of jokes around what what the challenge rating of the quarterback is and things like that. But they're much more involved than this silly little drawing can handle. All right, so we're going to turn off the sketch. We're going to look at that and say that looks pretty good. And we will go to the gloaming brush. Let's go for a blue dragon. I haven't done a blue dragon in a while. Oop, I'm on the wrong layer. Go to the color layer. I've stopped bringing up the shape within the shape every week because I felt like I was repeating myself. Um, but I realized that with new people, you never know when someone new is going to be watching it, and that's something that's a tip I like to give to people regularly because it's so useful in so many different ways. So I will try to start working that in again more often. Not right now, mind you. I'm amusing myself, which is always a good start. I guess the shape within a shape thing definitely works with a football too. The football is broken into spheres, into slices. It's sewn together. You color each one as its own thing. It helps to create that feeling of it being um, a larger an item that exists in 3 dimensions. Mm. No. Nah, yellow's the color for sure. And we got to get some coloration onto our other characters. And we can do this pretty quickly. So again, we're going to do 3 or so color shades of. That's the problem with having picked a blue dragon. We'll go with the. I guess our fighter's wearing leather armor. Doesn't look like it from the. All right, and a little bit of blue for the sword, kind of like we did for the alien's helmet, and a little lighter blue for the belly of the beast. And he said, and it's a little bit of hint of a ground that he's standing on. And we got ourselves adventurers sacking the quarterback. Though not very well, but that's what adventurers do. Sometimes they bite off more than they can chew. But there we go. Adventurers sacking the quarterback. Sacking Rome was easier than this, yeah. Michael, that's actually so much better than I'm sacking as hard as I can. I'm putting that in there. All right, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to erase that entirely. Put back on our sketch layer because I'm going to have to re-sketch out. I don't want to try and do those words without sketching them in place first. So let's get rid of that. You know what? I'm not going to say Rome, though, just because we want to make sure that it feels like adventurers, not not historical. So I'm going to say sacking a castle. Sacking a castle is easier than this. Good choice. Well, sacking a castle would be easier. We just need to make that castle a little thicker. There we go. Go team. There it is. There it is for sure. There is our adventurers sacking the quarterback. With dialogue, it's iteration, iterate, yeah, all the kind of humor, any kind of writing, but certainly humorous writing. It's iteration, iteration, iteration. For Paylor's sake, sack him. All right. Doing good. We're doing good. Let's do one more and then get out of Dodge. Move along. Sing a song. I don't know. Have a good weekend. All right. So let me turn off group 2. Turn on group 3. Get that ready. Get the blue and the right pen, brush. Turn back on our encounter tables. One more quick sip. We really pulled together. It was a real team effort for adventurers sacking the quarterback. That was our second drawing. Our first drawing, of course, was a carnivorous plant and a UFO encounter. Let's see what the dice say. The encounter, our third encounter, should be our third random encounter. Of course, to be a random encounter, we need to roll some dice. So we roll them, and let it go. And it's 2 and 10, which is a vampire Empty Pantry. Hmm. Empty Pantry almost came up last week, and I kind of blanked on it. I think we yeah, that's when the two Cindy's gave us great choices, and so I did both of those. Um, and I almost took Empty Pantry off the the list this time because I just looked at them like I don't think that works for a lot of the Who's as a what that works for some of the Who's and not others. Vampire, it'll work. That'll we can work with that. We've got a vampire and an empty pantry. Speaking of weekend, it's nothing as fun as a convention, but I'm going to the open house for our brand new airport here. All right. Yeah, no, send me links if they've got interesting videos. It sounds great. You know, there's a lot of municipal spaces, public spaces that are a lot more fun. You know, they have big opening ceremonies and they're fun to go. I totally get why you might want to go to the opening of a new airport. All right, so a vampire empty pantry. All right, we're gonna have a long-faced vampire with big ears. You'll have big Dracula cape. You have a pantry here. See, now this is a cabinet. I'm thinking about it. So he could have packets of blood that have almost nothing in them. And then, you know, like just a spider web, some cobwebs up here. Him with his hands on his hips because what are you going to do when the pantry's empty? Two hands on the hips aren't working. One hand on the hip, the other one kind of up, looking. What am I going to do? Yeah, but that hand on the hip also no good. I think that's one where just kind of have his arms down, and it's a posture of weakness. So weak that he doesn't even know what to do with his arm. And what do we also want to have go. All right. Come back here. This vampire's got a interesting look to me. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I've ever drawn one quite like this. He's kind of cute, but still kind of monstrous. A friend of mine is working on a game that they want to publish in as part of Zenetopia that BackerKit does in February each year. So he's getting ready. He's designing the game. He's also a cartoonist and a graphic designer. So everything he does has a very strong graphic element to it. And he's doing a game which is vampire themed. I don't want to say too much about it because it's his game first of all, and he's working on it. I don't want to give any spoilers, but it's uh, it's got a vampire theme, and he's one of the places he's going for inspiration is uh, the TV show Things We Do in the Shadows. Things We Do in the Shadows. Things We Do in the Dark. Things We Do in the Shadows. Hmm. I want to give him a big, long, creepy, long fingers. That's just wrong, though. Come back to the sketch layer. When things aren't working out, go back and resketch it. And I didn't do a lot of detail here. So I want the finger here to be long. But the thing is, when you're scratching your chin, I had him scratching it down towards the bottom of his finger, and that's not how it goes. You scratch with the top end of the finger, so the rest of the hand has to be over here. Even that's not working great. Anyway, I bring up my friend and that because this this vampire I'm drawing to me feels like he's got a vibe of being one of those characters. All right, so Give him a little Batman clip holding his cape up. Big puffy shirt. Like so. Yeah, I notice you guys are writing some pretty clever things. I have already in my head decided that I am not going to have a caption on this. I'm just going to let the drawing be the drawing, which in no way is a slight against any of your suggestions. But I'm telling you ahead of time that in my head, I've already made that decision. Doesn't matter how good your suggestions are, and I expect them to be excellent. Why do I expect them to be excellent? Because they generally are. It's just how you guys roll. But I have decided. Excuse me. Pardon me. And we'll have another cobweb up here. Now here, I'm taking the lines, and I know where they've roughly got to be, and I need them to be relatively straight, but then I can finish it off. Again, it's not about getting it 100% right. It's about not letting it be so wrong that it draws attention to itself. Put little tidbits, little dots down here, maybe even some more cobwebs. Going to show he hasn't come into the kitchen very often. I could. I don't think I'm going to, but for effect, I'm going to just kind of doodle here for a second. Um, we could just give him a exclamation point over his head because he's unhappy with it. We could give him an interrobang. The cupboard is bare. We could draw a little batty companion with him. I'm liking this idea a little more. All right, let's turn the sketch off and see how that's looking. It's looking okay. Not great, but okay. And okay is good enough. Got a vampire and an empty pantry. I'm just looking at him, trying to decide whether I want to give him just a few extra wrinkles on his face. A weird little connection here between the end of the chin and that finger. It has to be fixed. All right, so let's go to our colors layer and our gloaming brush. Um, I like to draw my vampires with pale purple skin. That's not pale enough. It might be a little too pale, but I can live with it. I can live with it more than I can the too dark. Some kind of unnatural, unhealthy, undead flesh tone. Give him a black cape with, hold on. With a red lining because it's just classic. Classic! Now, of course, the question is if I do that with a black cape, can I give him an even blacker clip? Yeah. I don't want that to disappear entirely. I think I want to give him, kind of like I did the dragon, pale yellow eyes to make him seem more monstrous. I feel myself talking less. I don't know if I talked myself out last night or I'm just running out of things to say or this drawing is engaging me. It doesn't feel like it's engaging me that much. So that can't be it. I already want to put some shading on this shirt so that we get that feeling of three-dimensionality. It was bugging me. Just looked too flat. And his pale skin. Don't want to go too, still want to just look pale. But a little bit helps. And let's see, so we need to put some blue, do it just like we did on the helmet for the alien and the sword in the previous drawing. Just got to put a little blue on this empty bag so it doesn't seem it seems empty and not like we forgot to draw on. Just a couple of drips. Who put the bag back in the pantry with just a couple of drips left? Then it was gonna go for a for a quote on this one, that I would probably go for something like that. And I'm going to only color. This is kind of that a weird corner case of the shape within a shape. I'm only going to put dots of color in the to show that the cobweb has some substance between us and what's behind it. There we go. Looking good, I think. There we go. Of all the things, the bat is the one that's standing out to me as not feeling right, but such is life. I can live with it. Shall we order in Nosferatu? Nosferatu? That's funny to write, difficult to say. All I wanted was a quick bite. I'm going to take the whole thing, all these colors, and just drop them in intensity. I think the whole thing was just a little overpowering on the lines. About 20% opacity. And I'm feeling better about it already. Okay, let's come back to the lines layer. Put a little stand in the corner. And there we have a vampire with an empty pantry. Ba-da-ba-ba-doop boop boop. Nosferatu. Nosferatu. Yeah, hard to say. It's, you know what? That's certainly something that I've learned over the years. Doing most of my writing has been for cartoons that get read in the head, or uh, novels or stories. Not for, I haven't written a lot of plays or things that are meant to be performed out loud. But the few times I have, I I very quickly started to develop an eye for uh, looking at something that and saying that's going to be hard to say. Nosferatu. Yeah, Nosferatu. I think stew. If you want to get the idea of stew, it's got to be. You need that. Stew has to be an emphasis sound in that. Yeah, and most RPG authors don't even consider what the poor people who have to say that stuff out loud. Anyway, there we go. Vampire with an empty pantry. Well done, my friends. Well done. Just looking up at Secret saying, "Oh darn, I'm all out of Count Chocula cereal." This vampire changes a lot. You can do a lot of different kind of humor with him, depending on what kind of voice you give him. Right? Oh darn, I'm out of Count Chocula cereal. Okay, let's let's have a sip and do an outro and call it a night. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you all for joining me. All right, here we go. A vampire with an empty pantry. That was our third drawing for the evening. Our second one had been, still is, uh, adventurers sacking a quarterback, and we started off with a carnivorous plant UFO encounter. I'm looking at this one. I'll tell you right now. I'm going to change it right here at the end of the show. I'm going to change it. I was trying to figure out what was bugging me about this, and I can tell you exactly what it is. I don't like the alien having a nose. I think that's immediately much better for me. So there we go. A carnivorous plant and a UFO encounter. Those were our three encounters, our random encounters this week. Had a lot of fun. Michael and Chris in chat, you guys came up with some fantastic ideas. I know I didn't follow them all. I know I blew you off on a couple, but you also really led me to some very funny stuff. And some of them are absolutely you. So thank you. Good job, folks. I know that. Oh, Luis Garcia was here for a while. I didn't even see you. See, that's what happens when I'm drawing. My head's down. You leave one message, and I miss you. But here, I'm saying hi. I'm saying thank you anyway. Surreptitious was here for a while. I know that in the chat we've had between 8 and 10 other people hanging out with us. So thank you all for watching. You are, of course, always welcome to join the chat, but never required. I will come down here. And oh, Michael says, just save the yeah, you saved the. That's a good thing about these this kind of brainstorm, this kind of creative brainstorm, is in the end only one idea is going to be the final thing, even if it mixes up 3 or 4 different ones into a mushed up one, but it's one idea, and there will always be lots of other ones around. Those, you take those and play with them. Take them and run. Do something fun with them. Thank you all for joining me. I had a great time on this week's episode of Random Encounters. So I mentioned this on my show last night, but not tonight. Next week, I am going to be at Gamehole Con in Madison, Wisconsin. So there will not be a live show on Thursday night. But next Thursday is the 16th of October, and that is my birthday. So I'm trying to get a bunch of stuff for the show finished. Today, I'm doing that today, Thursday, and tomorrow, Friday and Saturday. If I succeed in that, then I will probably record a birthday special show for next Thursday, and it'll come up. It'll get released on YouTube on Thursday in this usual time slot, but it won't be live. So there may be something for you to come back and watch, and I hope that you will check it out. At the very least, you can give me a birthday present. And here is the birthday present I'm asking for. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And leave me, go back through the archive on some of the shows that you have, maybe some you've watched and you look at and you know you enjoyed, or shows you haven't watched. And watch them and leave a comment. That's the birthday present I want, is leave me some comments to come back and find when I get back from the convention. That will be a great birthday present. It'll help with engagement for the show. So it gives to me, and that means if it gives to me, we give it back to the show, and it gives back to you. So a terrific bargain as far as birthday presents go. Chris says, happy birthday if we don't see you on stream. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. You can say happy birthday to me at any point during this month, and it will be a fine. I accept that as perfectly on time. So, until next time. Oh, wait, no, you know what? I'll plug a few more things. If you like what I do and you want to get more involved, or you are thinking, you know what, Stan, I just hit the lotto and I have some money. How can I share my largesse with you? Well, you could become a member of my Patreon. That's a good way. If you don't have extra money lying around, you can become a free member of the Patreon. That's the place to go if you like me and the stuff I do, and you want to have more access to all the various Stanish stuff that's happening around, go to patreon.com/Stanix. Yeah. I also I mention this every once in a while. I mentioned that I make stickers a lot. I have a website where I sell stickers, and I just refreshed it with stickers for October for spooky season. So you want to go over to stickersbystan.com, no spaces, stickersbystan.com, and you can see what the October stickers are that are hanging around. Maybe you want to get some of those to put on your computer or your refrigerator, or to hand out as part of the Halloween swag. I don't know. Just go look. They're kind of cute and funny. All right, that is definitely it. For sure, I've said it several times, but I mean it this time. This is it. Thank you all for coming. Glad to see you. Have a good weekend. Have a good week next week if I don't see you. And I'll be back here real soon, and I hope you will be too. Until then, take care.